What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is. Oh, alright. My name is Tony Chow, also known as Saskio. Some of you guys may know me as that guy who got to Platinum playing Draven and Yumi with his feet. Others of you guys might know me as that random collegiate guy. But either way, that doesn't matter. Today we'll be talking about how to impact the game from top lane. I see all those comments in the chat. Top lane is just an isolation role, no impact, but that is very wrong. And I'll show you how to impact from top lane. So let's hop into this practice tool and discuss some of the concepts on top lane. Amir Yasser says, hi random, what's up man, how you doing? Alright, let's pick a classic top laner right now, Aatrox. It doesn't matter what runes we run, we'll just pop in there. And go Darius. Darius is not a bad top laner right now, considering that Maokai also came back to the meta, so Darius has a big axe, Maokai is a tree, so you can chop him down. Think about it. How do you play versus Ignite top lane? You need to play smarter and slower. So normally you take 3 winning trades before you'd all in a top laner normally, but if you're against an Ignite top laner, you take 4 winning trades before you all in. So you need to make up for that Ignite damage that he has over you, if you do want to all in him. But otherwise you don't all in him. But alright, if you guys don't know me, in the last week's classes, I discussed a lot about push, vision, push, execute. And I discussed it through bot lane, where you push out your waves, you get your vision, you push out, and then you can execute by doing whatever you want. And I discussed it how to do it through bot lane, from AD carry / support. And this time, I'll discuss it through top lane, showing you guys how to do it from top lane. So let's start off. Early on, right off the bat, you buy your items, go out of base, and you generally want to hold a 5 point. So usually top laner stands here. But if your jungler is just standing bot side, you can usually stand in this area. And you will cover not only here, you will cover here. And you just hover back and forth here. If you see an enemy, you walk away. And this just avoids some complications on the enemy jungler stealing your jungler's blue buff, and he gets mad at you. So that's right off the bat. But now let's get into the actual top lane. So, oh, I'm in champ select. I apologize. I made this mistake last week too, but thankfully it wasn't that long before I fixed it. This time it wasn't that long either. This was roughly about 1 minute. But either way, we're back in it now. And yes, so anyways, right off the bat, you generally want to hold a 5 point early on in top side. So right when you come out of base, you grab your items. You generally want to be hovering back and forth in this area right here. And move back and forth so that you can cover this and this. If your jungler isn't watching this area right here, which he normally should be watching. Sometimes they're AFK, sometimes they're just standing bot side. You just want to make sure that your jungler doesn't get his blue stolen. So enough of that, let's get into top lane. So for top lane, let's discuss the most basic things that you want to do early on. So you want to think about your wave state early on when you get to top lane. Usually, hopefully you're in a winning matchup because you're able to get counterpick. You generally want to try to get the push, a slight push going early on. And with that slight push that you have early on, you want to cheese them at level 2. This is something I discussed for bot lane, where it's after 9 minions, you and your support will hover up on the enemy and then look to all in them as the 9th minion goes down. But now for when it comes to solo lanes, top and mid, it's the 7th minion of the minion wave. So the first 6 die, and then the next wave comes. The first melee minion that goes down is the minion that you want to really cheese your opponent on. And this is a concept that I keep nailing down, and everybody probably knows this by now, but people still keep falling for it. So again, why not take advantage of it? So let's speed up this game. And just to, oh, I leveled up. That's not good. Let's reset the game. Alright, let's speed up the game, fast forward. Teleport top. And just to reinforce the fact that you do get it, I will speed up the game and show you guys. So normally, the way you want to push the wave towards them is you don't want to hard shove the wave. You don't want to be autoing back and forth. You want to get a slight push going on, maybe throw in one auto, and then look to match your opponent's autos from there. If they auto, you probably want to look to auto. And then if you see an opportunity to trade, where they're last hitting a minion, and you aren't last hitting a minion, or you can last hit a minion while using an ability, then you can look to do that and trade at the same time. But ultimately, your goal is to reach level 2 first, if you can, which is the 7th minion. Let's kill these mage minions right here. So any melee minion here is going to get me level 2. And then the second you reach it, you want to be already postured up on your opponent. And then just go in with your EQ, in this case for Aatrox. Like a lot of champions, like Darius, you can hook them into auto W. Irelia has a pretty standard one where you can Q onto that 7th minion, and then EE, and then just all in from there. But a lot of champions can really play off that, and you'll usually get the cheese off. You'll probably get a flash, and if not a flash, you'll chunk them out, allowing you to get a lot of lane priority, so that you can literally do whatever you want for the next 3 minutes roughly. So that's the most basic cheese right off the bat. Now let's discuss how to crash waves and how to play around the enemy jungler's gank at roughly around the 3-minute marker. So generally junglers nowadays, they start bot side. So they'll do blue, maybe Grump, wolves, and then red, and then looks to gank top. That's probably around the 3:15, 3:30 marker. So this is really standard time to get ganked. So right here is actually perfect timing. So right here, well, it's 6:18 in the corner, but don't worry about that. That was just the game bug when I moved the clock ahead. But right there, you saw I had a really big minion wave. That's generally a time that the enemy jungler will look to gank you. And if you got a good trade early on at level 2 onto the enemy top laner, and you have that big minion wave pushing in, if you get ganked by the enemy jungler with that wave, you play within the wave, let them auto you, and have the minions just focus them down. And then you can focus down the one target that you think is going to die first, and then just get that kill. But my point is no matter what, you shouldn't be dying to these level 3 ganks, whether you can control it or not. So if you know you can win the 1v2 with your minion wave, then you want to hold it there as long as possible. If you know you cannot win, then you want to push the wave in as fast as possible. And it'll be pretty easy because you have the big minion wave. And what you do is, once the minion wave starts crashing under the enemy tower, you want to look at the body language of the enemy top laner. So you just push the wave in, right? Let's just push just to have a really good example here. So let's say this is that big minion wave that we just crashed earlier. So now we start moving. Pay attention to the enemy top laner as you're moving here. If he starts posturing in a weird way, where he wants to come down and actually fight you through that minion wave, then that means the enemy jungler's there. You probably don't want to go ward that bush. But if he just stands under the tower, then you can just probably walk up toward the bush, and even if you get ganked here, you should still be fine. The only jungler that can kill you in this case would be Olaf. But just be ready then to flash his axe if you do see it coming out of the bush. But any other junglers shouldn't be able to kill you. Champions like Elise, Karthus, they'll just slow you and you'll walk away. Worst case scenario, you're burn flash. But you get your ward. So that's how the first 3 levels should be being played early on if you have a winning matchup. Every time. You get the level 2 cheese off. If they respect it, then that's fine. You have the big minion wave crashing. And then you can still look to go for that level 3 play, where you can crash the big minion wave or fight under it, and then you get the ward after, and then the lanes reset from there. So that's a pretty standard way of looking at the first 3 levels for top lane when it comes to a winning matchup. So now let's look at the opposite side, where it's a losing matchup. So if you're in a losing matchup, let's say you're playing Maokai, Ornn, you're playing into like a Jace or a Gnar or something, where they can look to get a couple auto attacks on you early on and get some cheese poked down. What you generally want to do is you don't want to walk up and take free poke. The only time you walk up is for melee minions, because melee minions you can generally last hit without getting too much poke in return for it. Because if they do try to auto attack you when you're last hitting a melee minion, then the minions will attack them back, and then you'll get like a fair trade. And obviously in this case, like if you're playing Ornn or something, you can Q them back and then walk away. But in most cases, you want the wave to push towards you. And the most important thing here is the reverse level 2 cheese. So I already taught you guys right here to level 2 cheese the opponent as the 7th minion, right? But you need to pay attention to their 7th minion. And it's pretty obvious too, because you just look at the first 6, and then you look at the first melee minion that comes from your second wave, and you make sure you aren't pushed up in a position with enemy like Jace or something or Gnar can just pop on you and then just output their full burst while you're still level 1. So all you do is you sacrifice the minion gold and make sure you're in range to soak up the EXP. when it comes to EXP range, the range is pretty generous. Like right here, I would get this mage minion if it went down. So let's just stand within range. So right here is a pretty generous range to get these two melee minions for the EXP. So right there I got 60, right there I got 60, this mage minion will go down, I got 30. So keep in mind that the range is actually pretty long, but if you can walk up without the enemy poking you, then you can look for it. But otherwise, in most cases, just let the wave push in, and then look to catch the wave once you're under tower. Try not to take too much poke. Once you're level 3 and the weight and the matchup is more even, then you can look to play a bit more aggressively if you want. If the matchup does favor you once you reach level 3, which a lot of matchups do end up being that way in the top lane. So now we discussed how to impact top lane level 2, level 3, how to ward for it, and how to counter all that stuff if you're the losing side. So now let's discuss what to do when you get priority top lane. But let's quickly answer a couple questions in chat if there are any. Let's see. Will there be a custom game today? Yes, there will be a custom game. I'll be looking for gold/silver players, and I'll be focused on mainly top lane, but I will discuss some team play as we go throughout the game. How would you try and carry a gold game? Would you prioritize splitting or making TP plays somewhere on the map? You would definitely want to find a mixture of both, and I will for sure be talking about that during the custom games, where I can have a more clear image and show you guys like an exact situation on whether you'd want to split here and how you want to execute it versus like where you should be TPing and all those things of that nature. So I'll definitely be talking about that as we go throughout the game. But I'm going to discuss the impact ward. The reason why people call it the impact ward is because he does it almost every single game. If you watch his pro games, a lot of them, like maybe like a year back, I'm pretty sure he still does it now, but a lot of top laners started actually copying him. What he would look to do is on level 3, level 4, usually doesn't matter what champion he's playing, he will look to play pretty aggressively early on at that marker, because what he wants to do is he wants to get to the impact ward. So, it doesn't matter what champion he's on, he will play aggressively and then try to get the push. Now, once he gets the push, he will ward this exact spot every time. I'll show you it for blue side, and I'll show you it for red side. So he will get his priority. Let's say he's blue side. He will walk in, and this is roughly level 4, by the way, when the enemy jungler has reset and headed bot lane. So then he knows he's safe. But what he would do is he would ward here. And what that ward would do is, if the enemy jungler hasn't reset, right, he would probably spot him, and if they have reset, they would probably path towards it, and he would catch them on that spot. But either way, if the ward doesn't spot the enemy jungler, what his team does know is that the enemy jungler is not in that exact spot, so then they can play around it, obviously with bot vision and mid vision, and then they can play around that. And then now for red side, if he's on this side, right, he would push out the wave, and then now he would walk down, and then he would place his ward somewhere around here. But if he knows he can go deeper, which he normally does, he'll place his ward exactly right here. And again, if you go to his VODs, like in a lot of his pro games, when he's on a champion who can get priority at level 3, 4, and 5, he will always do that ward. And obviously you might think like that's just a standard ward, like for top lane, like you just push vision, push execute. But it was definitely really normalized by Impact, because he would always do it no matter what. If he was in a losing matchup, winning matchup, it doesn't matter, which was pretty insane once people started reviewing his VODs. And obviously, eventually people started catching on, and they actually abused that exact fact that they knew that Impact would play aggressively at level 3 and 4, and then they would look to gank him at the exact time or two. So that's something that a lot of teams caught on to. But anyways, that's something that you want to look to do in your games, because not only are you establishing vision for yourself, you're establishing vision for your team. And now with that vision, you're able to execute whatever you want. Whether you want to constantly shove the enemy top laner into their tower and hit the tower, poke them out, yada yada yada, or you want to roam mid safely, or do Herald, probably not at 6 minutes, but because it's not even up yet. But that's generally the wards that you want to be looking to place once you have the priority in top lane. And obviously, if you can't go any deeper, which is fine on blue side, you would just place it here. And then for red, you'd probably just place it roughly here, and you should be good. And if not, here's perfectly fine too. So either or, those are perfectly fine. And then obviously you place your control ward on the defensive side of your brush. So on blue side, you place your control ward usually here. And on red side, you would place your control ward usually here. But if you're a champion that has a lot of shove potential and opportunity, like Jace or Gnar, then you can put a really aggressive pink ward, actually right here, and then look to put your yellow ward somewhere in here, so that you can spot the enemy team if they're coming, and just look to constantly shove over and over again. So that's what you want to look to do. Obviously, so let's go back to everything I talked about earlier. Level 2 cheese. Level 3 push / try to bait the enemy jungler into ganking you. And then from there, push, vision, push, execute. So once you're able to get pushes, you want to get your vision. You want to push again, and then you want to execute with your vision. So in that case, you want to hit tower, you can poke the enemy down, or you can look to roam mid or reset. Those are the general things that you want to be doing in the laning phase when it comes to the push, vision, push, execute in top lane. Now, let's discuss about the TP. So generally for TPing, the perfect TP that you can always pull off is after you pushed and they're under their tower. You don't even need vision when it comes to TPing. You just need to push, and the enemy top laner is under their tower. So let's just push this wave in and then quickly discuss it. So let's say we push. So now the enemy top laner is under his tower. You're going to slide into a bush real quick, and then you look around the map. And then generally, hopefully, as this minion wave is crashing under the tower, a play is happening across the map. And you can obviously just look to TP in, and then you go from there. And then you make the play happen, quickly help that lane push out the wave, which is usually bot lane, quickly reset, and run back to top lane with boots, so that you can catch the wave, or even half of the wave, that the enemy top laner just pushed in, so you're not losing out too much. So not only were you able to make sure you subdued the enemy top laner, you're able to TP down, make that play, and get back to top lane before he can fully crash the wave and make you lose the whole wave. Now, obviously, the enemy top laner could just match the TP, but if he matches the TP, then he's probably going to lose a couple minions, which is a slight advantage. But generally, if you're the team that's pulling the trigger first, you should win the TP battle when it comes to mid / bot lane. So if you lose, it's really unfortunate, but if you did push the wave all the way in, and you guys are punished as a team for that TP, that's not the worst deal in the world, because the minion wave will just be even, or even probably pushing towards you. Once you, so like right here for example, so I just pushed in the wave. Let's assume the enemy top laner just smashed my TP, right? This is the exact minion wave that you're probably going to look at when you're walking back to lane, which is really good, because what's going to happen is now both top laners are walking from their base right now, just from the play that happened bot lane. You just died because your team got punished, and they succeeded in their play. Not a big deal. Well, it is a big deal, but you get the point. And now both top laners are walking, but this minion wave will end up in your tower, so then you'll get the minion wave at the end of the day. So the top laner that's able to get the push actually dictates a lot of how the minion wave will play out, even after the TP play is done. So that's a huge advantage if you're a champion that's able to get the push and make that play happen. Are you doing customs, Coach Saskio? Yes, I'll be doing gold / silver customs in NA today. Hey Saskio, I'm a challenger player and playing since season 3 mid lane. Now I want to be a top laner. What are your advice? Transition the concepts that you learned from mid lane to top lane, and then apply it to the top lane champions that you're starting to pick up, such as Aatrox, Mordekaiser, Darius, Wukong, things of that nature. How to freeze under my tower? I was actually about to get to that. Don't worry. How do I buy you? ProGuides.com. They have a coaching website. They have their coaching stuff going on out there where they can pick out any coach. I'm on there sometimes, so you can maybe look to DM me a message on there, and then we can look to set something up through the ProGuides website. But anyways, let's get back to top lane. So let's discuss how to freeze. This is the fun one. So obviously, the most basic knowledge of hard freezing, where you're able to infinitely freeze on someone, you need to always have 4 mage minions on the enemy team. That's the most basic way, because your minions are going to crash with the 4 minion waves, the 4 mage minions, and then they're going to take down like 2 or 3, and then their minions will come and then assist, and then basically it's just infinitely frozen. So let me get this set up for you guys. So let's just push this wave in, and let's speed up this game. Oh, the minions get all screwed up when you fast forward. Let's try to speed this up. Alright, this is not looking good anymore. Let's reset this game and speed it up. Fast forward. Fast forward. What do you think is the best way to get out of low elo as a top laner? You need to know how to pressure your lane, and then you need to know how to side lane properly without getting caught by the enemy jungler, which happens a lot when it comes to NA side laning. And this is like high elo, like competitive side laning too. Like a lot of top laners have trouble side laning properly. They usually get caught by the enemy jungler or something, without their team being able to punish by getting Baron on the opposite side of the map or top lane, things of that nature. And that's why NA top laners just end up grouping, because it's just so much easier to execute. Which is the wrong play, because the games can end out much slower because the enemy team just keeps clearing waves and you're not pressuring multiple waves. Hence, borns the NA top lane meme. Which is why Licorice is probably is a really good top laner, because he knows how to play side lane properly. Why aren't the minions spawning? Alright, my game's frozen. But let's remake the game. I'll hop right back into it, don't worry guys. Apparently it bugged out, because we kept resetting the game too many times. Don't worry, you guys aren't missing anything. What's side laning? So side laning is basically pressuring side lane, but knowing how much you're able to pressure without dying. And then obviously, when you know you're in a position to hard pressure when it comes to like killing the top lane or actually even taking tower really aggressively, then you're able to do it too. So it's a very slow process that needs to be set up by the whole team. It can't just be set up by you. But I'll obviously try to discuss it in a way that you can apply to your own solo queue game so that you're able to do it yourself without your teammates having too much of an impact on it. So let's fast forward here. Hopefully the minions spawn this time. Alright, very nice. So hopefully it's got a freeze going on here. So right here I'm just going to set it up so that the minion wave will push back towards me and I can hold an infinite freeze. Alright. How do you transition your lead into mid-game with champs like Ribbon with a losing bot lane? You generally want to... Alright, so let me get this freeze going on first, and then you guys slowly watch it build. So I'm just going to pull the minion wave. And basically what happens now is their minions will come to this fight happening first, and then start hitting my minions down. And then my minions will be late to this fight because the minion wave is closer to their side. So then the wave will naturally push towards me. And then I'll show you guys how to set up an infinite freeze, assuming that you're really far ahead. And then obviously you can do it at micro levels where you're freezing, but not infinitely, just for one minion wave, so that they lose that minion wave. And then I'll tell you guys when you guys can do it. But how to transition your lead, like let's say you're playing Ribbon and you have losing bot lane, you want to pressure your side lane. Once you know for sure someone has reacted to your side wave, then you can rotate mid with the numbers advantage, because you pushed a wave in. Now they reacted to it. You rotate mid and then look to force a play while you have the numbers advantage. Alright, so let's discuss this infinite freeze on top lane. So 4 mage minions is the minimum that you need to hold the freeze. Right now, generally you want to be clearing right now if you like somehow have this big of a minion wave. So you want to try to clear this down. So right here we have 4 mage minions. Alright. So now basically this is a freeze. And what you want to do is you generally want to do this when the enemy has, for example, let's say they killed you, right? And you TP'd back to top lane and they were super low and they weren't able to push in the wave. Then you'd pressure up to try to push them away from the wave, and then just hold this freeze until they TP back so that they can match your TP timer too. And now basically the wave is frozen for quite a long time. And if not infinitely, then you can stack a wave towards them, because then generally the wave is stacking back towards them if the wave gets broken. So right here, as you can see, you just last hit normally, and the minion wave should stay pretty frozen in most cases. So there are actually a lot of opportunities to do this in games. Generally in bot lane, it really happens the most. But yeah, right here, the minion wave freeze got screwed up because I actually killed too many of the minions. But that's generally like the point that you want to be holding. You generally want to do it for one wave so that they can lose the wave, and then you can push back towards them after they've lost the wave, so you catch up by 6 minions, and then you can reset the lane from there. And this freeze work with mid lane. Mid lane's a little different because the lane is a little bit shorter, but you never ever hold hard freezes when it comes to mid lane, ever. You hold small like minion wave bounces where you'll like pull one like melee minion really far, so that now it's one melee minion versus 6 of your minions. And then once their 6 comes, then you can have the wave closer to your side, and then you can choose to push whenever you want. But yeah, right here, if I was the enemy top laner, and I, like, let's say I reset, right, without fully pushing the wave in, then he would freeze the wave on me because I can't do anything, because I'm resetting. So right there, let's say that big minion wave, right? I can't walk up to it, because if I walk up to it, I'll die. Then I have to back off, reset, and then the enemy top laner can now freeze it. Pulls it, and what you do is so let's say I was covering that top laner wave, right? I would keep pulling the minions back and forth into the bush, so that I'm not taking full aggro from the minions, and I can just juggle them back and forth in this area. Because you want to hold freezes close to your tower, but not directly in front of your tower. Because if it's in front of your tower, then the tower is just going to hit you. Or the tower is going to hit the minions, and then you don't have a freeze anymore because the minions are dying. So yeah. Freeze the lane when my enemy is a Shen with TP, and ult is a good thing. You can freeze on a Shen, but if you freeze on a Shen or anyone who has TP advantage, you need to make sure that your bot lane never makes a play no matter what or gets caught. Because what ends up happening is he's just going to TP. Because he knows that you can't punish. Because the second you see him ult bot lane, the Shen, right? You're going to try pushing. But the minion wave was so big pushing towards you that it's gonna take the next minion wave before you can fully crash under the tower. So the Shen didn't really lose that much. He just gained. So you need to like make it very clear, like do not like make a play, like ping them back. So right here, I'm gonna hold this freeze. I'm gonna hold a really big freeze here where I have like 8 mage minions here. So right here, when he's pushing towards me, I'm just gonna last it. Obviously, I'm not gonna last it in this case, but normally you'd last it right here. But yeah. Do you freeze when losing or winning lane? You can do it in either way. It doesn't matter. You generally want to hold a freeze just for one wave so that the enemy loses 6 minions, and then you break the freeze and let it come into your tower. Then finally clear the wave. You generally do not want to hold freezes longer than 2 to 3, like 3 to 4 minion waves. 2 at max probably, and then 1 is like the perfect number. But if you're able to hold a freeze for like 3 or 4 minion waves, that means you are really far ahead of your counterpart, and you can destroy them if they walk up. Which is usually like when you're 3-0. But in that case, when you're that far ahead, in NA solo queue, it's probably better to just push and then roam mid. Because you can tilt more people rather than just one person. Hence why in EU solo queue, people are more patient and you're able to freeze much longer in higher competitive ranks. But in North America, you just push and just roam. So yeah. How do I play early game as Jax? You generally get pushed in. And you just try to farm until 3, and then you can look to make aggressive plays from there. Once you have the level 3. And watching TF Blade, like he demonstrates a really good example of that during his games. Like he'll find opportunities to play aggressive with his Conquer and his passive stacks early on, but if he can't find it, then he'll generally just let the wave push in, get 3, and he can look to make his plays from there. Again, level 3 is like the big like power spike of all top laners. Like a lot of matchups become even when both top laners are level 3. So yeah, that's how you generally want to freeze waves. You don't want to do it too long. Just do it for a minion wave or 2, and then let it crash, catch the wave, and then look to reset the wave from there, and then play out the lane however it plays out from there. So today we discussed level 2 cheese, level 3 bait for the enemy jungler, push vision, push execute for top lane, so where you want to place your wards, which is the impact ward. And then obviously I discussed the counter play to all that stuff if you don't have the pressure early on, to how to counter it, let the wave push in, then catch it once you're 3, then you look to play the game from there. We discussed basic freezing for top lane and general teleport usage. Also, I'd like to point out, for early on, you generally want to use the teleport top lane early on, just to get back to the minion wave as fast as you can and look to continue pressuring. But if you do find the opportunity where you can use it in bot lane or mid lane, then obviously go for it. If you're able to actually hard shove your opponent and look for that early play, that's fine too. Alrighty. Now, let's discuss really quickly how to side lane properly. And I will discuss more about it when it comes to the custom game that I pull out on how like the top laner should be playing it out. So let's say you're playing, there's 2 ways to side lane. There's 3 ways. There's you simply just catch the wave because you're the top laner that gets pushed in. Number 2 is you're actually able to actually hard pressure and do whatever you want, which is the one that you're hopefully doing in solo queue. And number 3 is the one where you just push past even and then you roam. So what I mean by push past even is, this is the even point right here, where my mouse is flying back and forth. Generally, you want to do this one where you push past even when you're playing champions who are tanks, because you can't actually side pressure. Because let's say you push past even and you actually continue trying to pressure, you're just gonna probably die to the enemy jungler. So what you do is you push past even, and then you just roam mid. Like literally, like this strategy works so well on Ornn, because Ornn literally pushes that, he walks mid, and then when he's here, the enemies are usually right here, and then you just click R. Ding, ding. The enemy top laner, your enemy top laner, is bot lane catching the wave. Meanwhile, you're mid lane pulling the trigger. So then you get your play off, and then you go from there. And obviously you can still do this on champions like Aatrox, Riven, but those champions like Aatrox, Riven, Camille, Jax, they have more options. They can actually hard split and hard pressure. So what they would do is, after they push, they would look to establish their vision. Hence goes back to my strategy of what I like to preach over and over again, is the push, vision, push, execute strategy. Is where you push. Once you see someone on that minion wave killing the wave, then you get your vision, which is where you sweep vision, you place vision. And then after you do that, you go back to the wave, and then you push out the minion wave again. Once you push out the minion wave again, you can execute. So you can do whatever you want when it comes to execution again. You can continue hard pressuring because you have vision of the enemy jungler. You can walk mid lane and look to make your play. You can even TP if you want to. The options are endless when it comes to the execution. But which one you choose is your style. Personally, when I'm playing solo queue, I do not like to group my teammates. I prefer to hard pressure and try to force the enemy jungler or multiple people on the enemy team to come down. And then from there, I can look to choose to execute and outplay when it's a 1v2 situation, or to simply just run away. And then now once my team sees, oh shoot, there's 2 people killing my top laner, or chasing my top laner, not killing. If they're killing you, you've made a mistake. Your team didn't make a mistake, you made a mistake. But if you can see multiple people going to you because of your pressure, then you're doing a really good job. Because then now your teammates are, in theory, able to push in, get vision, do Baron, they can take towers, things in that nature. And hopefully they're doing that. And obviously if they're not, then you look to rinse and repeat until your teammates actually do something. And eventually they will do something, no matter what elo you're usually playing in. And based on what I've seen in the elos all the elos I've played in. What is the best strategy to win in top elo with the top champ? You need to learn how to pressure sidewave, which is exactly what I'm talking about right now. So now let's discuss when you get past this tower. So let's actually kill this tower real quickly, because this is where a lot of top laners in solo queue get caught, and they're like For bot lane, they're killing me. Why aren't my team doing anything? It's the top laner's fault. It is not the team's fault at all. I'm gonna preach this over and over again. If you allow people to get on top of you as the top laner in the side lane, then it was your fault. So let's finish off this tower and then discuss that. So let's say you're trying to apply push vision, push execute, but then when, like, let's say you walk in for your vision, which is step 2, right? And you die, you're like, Saskio, you lied to me. You said push vision, push execute. You need to look at the minimap to see how many people on the enemy team are on the map before you execute step number 2. So let's say you just push this wave, right? You're like, all right, Saskio told me, step number 2, vision. Boom, you're dead right now. That is your fault, not your team's fault. Because you should have looked on the map. Is the enemy jungler showing on the map? Is mid laner support, like mid AD carrying support and jungler showing on the map? Generally, your teammates should be able to find them. And then you're able to walk up. If your teammates do not find them, then what you do is you literally stand right here. Wow. The enemy top laner is catching the wave. And wait until you can see where the enemy jungler is. This is if you're pressuring. Or you can do my strategy, which is to push past half point and just look to roam mid. Because when you're roaming mid, you're moving towards your teammates. And if you get caught by the enemy jungler for some reason right now, let's say the enemy jungler hops over the wall like Graves or something, your teammates are usually right here. You can kite up towards them, and the enemy Graves can't chase you anymore. And then you go back bot lane, rinse and repeat. But let's say you see the enemy jungler, you got your vision. Usually right here, in this case, in this area right here. Place a normal ward right there. And then you can control ward like here or something. So you can see if the enemy jungler wrapped around and tried to kill you. And then from there, you can push and then execute. You can do whatever you want for execute. Again, I keep preaching over and over again. Execution is you can look to pressure and kill the enemy top laner. You can look to purposely play aggressively to pull the enemy team down and then run away. You can TP behind the enemy team. You can roam mid. All the options are available to you. You just have to choose which one your style fits or whatever fits for the game that you're playing. It changes for the champion. It changes for the game and the situation. So, as the splitting top laner, make sure you're paying very close attention when executing the first 2 steps, 1 and 2, to the map. Am I allowed to push here? If not, don't push up. It happens actually very commonly in competitive games right here, where the minion wave is right here, right? And like their team, like let's say a Matrox on blue team, right? And his blue team is all up in the enemy like jungle, like right here, all up in this area. Has the ward set down, like everything's set up. Baron's coming up, and then boom, they walk up to this bot lane wave right here. This is where you play that meme where he goes no 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 no, and then the enemy jungler comes out behind you and you die. This is very common, and something you'll notice that in competitive games is the losing team generally makes the play onto the enemy top laner because the losing team as a core cannot compete with the enemy core. So then they won't make the play on that side. So then they will look to make the play on the easiest person to make the play on, which is the enemy top laner because he's singled out in bot lane. So then they'll send the jungler down there and it'll just be a simple 2v1 gank. Sure, like, yeah, you will die, like if you're the enemy top laner here, right? Your teammates might get something, but in most cases, you don't want to be giving up those plays. Like, let's say you were like a high-level player, because you don't want to give the enemy team a ways back into the game. That gives their jungler 300 gold, or your top laner 300 gold, which could lead to you not being able to pressure your lane anymore, so then you can't do everything I'm talking about. So as a split-pushing top laner, make sure you're paying very close attention to where the enemy team is before you're able to even pressure at the halfway point, just the halfway point. But once you're able to see all that stuff, then you're free to go. Keep in mind, a lot of these things are circumvented by champions that are really strong or top laners who are really far ahead because you can just 1v2. Then it doesn't matter, right? So those are the things that you have to be paying close attention to when you are looking to pressure steps 1 and 2, which is push and vision as top lane. Alright. So what do you do if end up taking the first tower fairly early in the game? Do you just stay top and keep putting pressure, or is it even better to just start roaming? So you apply my steps. If you get, like, let's say you take the enemy top lane tower, right? You apply my steps. since you have the gold lead, I'm assuming that since you have the enemy top laner tower, you are stronger than the enemy top laner, so you're able to pressure. You're able to push in your wave. If obviously the enemy top laner contests, you kill him. And hopefully you don't get ganked at the same time. If you do, try to outplay the 1v2. If not, don't take the 1v2 and just wait until the jungler leaves. But you push, apply some basic vision, and execute. In this case, you would push, vision, execute. You wouldn't push, vision, push, then execute. You would only apply 3 steps. Push, vision, execute. So I'll show you. So let's say you're ahead. You got the enemy top lane tower, right? You're able to push because the enemy top laner can't match you. So free push, boom, boom, boom. Push is done. The minion wave is going to go to about here, where the enemy top laner will catch it. Vision, boom, yellow ward. Boom, control ward inside pit, or boom, control ward here, or here, either or, doesn't matter. And execute right away. You look on mid lane right away. Boom, right here. Or, alternatively, you push, and then minion wave goes into here, and then you can look for the TP right away onto a bot lane or mid lane play. So that's like the most basic thing to do as a top laner if you're able to get top lane tower early on, which usually is a result of a herald from your jungler. Do you always go bot lane after you take the top tower? No, but you can TP bot lane for a play. When my enemy jungle have early more strong than my jungler with potential to invade my jungler, I freeze. You need to play around your minion waves. So you don't have to freeze just because your jungler is weaker. But now let's put this question that you just asked into a high level competitive scenario. So you have the weaker 2v2 topside. Let's say you're playing Maokai and Karthus for some reason, and the enemy team have Jace and Elise, very classic, or Renekton and Elise, very classic 2v2 top lane. Your jungler should not be ever topside. He should have started topside and ended bot side, away from the Elise. But in most cases, that won't happen in your solo queue games. So let's take it back to the low level solo queue games. Your jungler is going to start bot lane. Their jungler is going to start bot lane. They're both going to path up. Make sure you make it very clear to your jungler to give up top Scuttle Crab, because what will end up happening is if you try to take the 2v2 fight that you don't win, you lose. You see the point? So what your jungler should do is avoid the enemy jungler as much as possible until level 6. So then what he should do is pass top, clear top, do not enter river. He should reset, go bot and catch bot Scuttle. Where normally his bot lane should have priority if you guys have the losing 2v2 top. But obviously drafts and solo queue drafts do happen, and you have priority in 0 lanes. So that stuff does happen too. But from there, you just play your lane normally, and then look to apply the things I talked about in the earlier stages of my lesson, which was level 2 cheese, if you're able to do it. Level 3 bait. I'm assuming if you're able to level 3 bait the enemy jungler into trying to gank you purposely, then you should have the stronger 2v2 because you're able to pressure. But yeah, that's generally what you want to look to do early on. Just play out the lane normally, and then play around the early things I discussed in earlier parts of this lesson. Alrighty, guys. Let's go into an actual game. How do I turn on my clients? Boom. Let's go into an actual custom game with the viewers, and let's discuss all the things I just talked about into a game, a live game. So, I'm gonna make this as clean as possible. Make sure you play the role that you are advertising yourself to be. So I'm gonna create a custom. So this is gonna be North America. I want gold and silver players to be competing in this one. So I'm gonna ask top laners first, then junglers, then mids, and AD carries, and support, and get the point, to put in their IGN. So we're gonna start with top lane, gold and silver. I want top lane IGNs. Make sure you put your IGN, then top, so I can see which one is who. Okay. All right. Ooh, my bad. I gotta pull up the stream on my computer so I can snipe the names out. Alright. Let's look at top laner. We're gonna get 2 tops, and then we're gonna go down the list after. Zargar 194, you're in. Aquatic Art 333, I got you. Make sure you guys join. I'll give you guys a couple seconds, and then I'll look for someone to replace you in that role. If you join like midway through, I will kick you so that we can... Okay, you guys... Both top laners are in. Hold your positions and do not start the game, Zargar. Alright. Junglers. Yeah, silver last season, you're fine. Aquatic. Alright, junglers. I want your name and then jungle. Gold and silver players. Alright. Oops. We got my Thren hero. We got... Dataros. Very nice. Working very cleanly this time compared to last time. I'm gonna wait for Dataros to join, and then we'll look to go mid laners. I want mid laners, gold and silver mid laners. Put your name and then mid. Alright. Yeah, the guy is bronze, but he said he's silver last season, so it should be okay. Oh, Thuan. Alright, let's wait for the 2 mid laners to join. Alright, both mid laners are in. Alright, I'm assuming you guys have been silver at least last season. The ranks look pretty good like right here, so we should be okay. Even though I requested gold on gold slash silver. Alright, 80 carries. I want IGNs and 80 carry. Is this EU? No, we are in NA today. I think most of the viewers are NA when I was discussing with the ProGuides people. Dr. Squish didn't work. Sorry. Alright. What? These names aren't working. Alright. 80 carries. Alright. We got 180 carry right there. He's in. One more 80 carry. I apologize if you guys might have seen that as discrimination to EU. I'm not discriminating to EU. If you might have seen that way. But I'm on NA, so it just makes sense for me to just watch the games on NA. Alright, we need one more 80 carry. Alright, I see one right there. We got Retro Shade 16. I hope that his name was right. Yeah, so Zyrene does EU games a couple times a week, so you guys can definitely check him out when he does his thing. Oh, it's Retro Shade 16, my bad. I got you, don't worry. Retrograde 16. Oh, that didn't work. Alright. I need one more 80 carry. Dr. Squish. Dr. Squish 80 carry? No, it's not working. We got Solo God, my man. Alright, Solo God, come in. Alright, we need some supports now. Supports, drop your IGN and just type support or sup. Either way works. And I do have a request for the people playing. Try to pick normal stuff, I guess. Like, don't pick, like, Teemo support or something. But pick your most comfortable champions when it comes to the role that you're playing. Alright. Alright, this shouldn't be too bad. Warzord is playing support. TFT rank. TFT rank. Alright, we're good, boys. We're good. Alright. Zargar, may you please start the game, and everyone try to pick general meta champions that you are very comfortable with. So, like, if you play Sai on top, then pick Sai on top. If you play Yuumi support, pick Yuumi support. Brand support, that's fine too. Annie, like, these are all good. Like, these are all good picks. Like, Annie's a normal mid laner. Heimer is a normal mid laner. So, all very nice. Yuumi top. I did play Yuumi with my feet. So, you can play, who knows? You can play Yuumi top, maybe. Team 1 cooking kind of stacked. That guy's rank was TFT. Everyone seemed pretty similar rankings, so these games should be okay, evenly matched. That awkward moment when I actually play Teemo support, my man. AP Talon. Does anything even scale off AP? I don't think anything scales at all on AP Talon. How's ranked treating you, Saskio? I've been playing. I actually have not been playing on my main at all in the past couple weeks. Ever since my quarantine happened at my university, I've been playing on my Smurf then and there for AD carry, so to practice for my university team. I've been playing other games outside of League of Legends, such as Old School RuneScape, Apex Legends, and I'm looking to get into Valorant too. Alright, we got a 3-minute delay, so once we wait for the delay, I will remind myself to change the scene when we get into the game. Otherwise, I don't want to be sitting here awkwardly talking and regretting not changing the scene, which I've already done once this stream. What university to go to? I go to Winthrop University. Jersey I'm wearing right now. Who do you play the most? I'm assuming champion. I like to play Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa and Varus. Those are my favorite AD carries. Did you buy a GF in OSRS? Buying GF 10k? I get lane bullied so badly if I play against Garen, Nasus, or Yorick. Help. When it comes to those champions, make sure you know when you can trade. So generally when you have the minion wave pushing towards them, otherwise if they have the minion wave pushing towards you, you generally want to respect those champions, even if it's a Nasus. Like, I know Nasus is weak early on, but there's still opportunities when he can kill you early on if you are disrespecting his minion wave, which is the really big part for top lane. Without extensive game knowledge, how can you tell if you win a 1v1 off of the minion wave? If you're talking about early game. Like, you can have the worst level 3 champion in the game, but if you have the bigger minion wave, you will win against the strongest level 3 champion in the game. But when it comes to later game, you need to understand how the champs work to win. Saskio, will you coach Saskio give tips to get out of low diamond elo as well anytime soon in vid streams? I haven't been streaming recently because school caught up to me. I'm in a master's program, by the way, for business administration and my collegiate team. So it got really hard for me to stream once I finished my Draven Yuumi idea to Platinum. We still have a minute on the spectators delay. What tips would you give a jungler trying to try out top lane? Apply the things that I discussed in the earlier parts of this stream. So you should definitely go back on this VOD and rewatch the level 2 cheese, level 3 bait into the enemy junglers to try to bait them into gank you. What do you do if you play against ranged and the enemy crashes wave into you? So you generally are going to get poked out a lot, but you need to play around his range. So you should be able to get the melee minions without taking too much poke. And then from there, try to Try to CS as much mage minions as you can. If not, then just sacrifice the mage minions and catch the EXP. Saskio, there was one guy who played Yuumi with his feet and Draven with his hands. I read that the other way around for some reason, whereas Yuumi with his hands and Draven with his feet. But yes, I am here. The game has loaded in. Let me switch the scenes. We are successful. I won't be awkwardly talking for a while. Alright. What tips do you give to solo climbing bot lane? I actually did a lesson last week on AD carrying support. 2 lessons actually. So if you can find those somehow, then yeah. But generally, you still apply the same concepts, where it's push vision, push execute, and then within that, if you're able to like outplay your opponent or find good opportunities to trade, then you can look to do so. What's it like studying business administration? Do you like it? I do enjoy it. It's a very generalized field, which I enjoy a lot. So that's why I went into it. But I'm just kind of going to school right now and taking advantage of my opportunities in collegiate. But alrighty, let's talk about this game. So I understand it was blind pick and everyone was picking their most comfortable champions. But I do like the top lane pool that is coming out here. We have the Camille, we have the Trundle with the Conquer. Both really strong side lane champions who have a lot of opportunities to 1v2 and has decent escape abilities too. Like Trundle has his Pillar, he has his W for movement speed. Camille has his ult to dodge out on some key abilities and to simply E away with a W slow. And obviously the Q movement speed is also really nice too. So Camille, a very good side laning champion, so we'll look into that for this game. So that'll be very interesting. Same as Trundle. But across the other board, we got Fiddlesticks, Amumu, classic junglers, I would say. Fiddlesticks obviously being reworked recently into what he is now. Mid laners, standard. AD carrying supports, standard. So I'm very happy with this game and how this one turned out. So hopefully we have some really good games here, and let's look to hop right into it. Games have loaded, we're good. Press U. Alright. Let me mute the stream. Alright, let's play the music very lowly. Let's start from the beginning. Let's have a little bit of something running in the background. Alright, so right off the bat, big mistakes from both sides. No one's AFK. What both teams should be doing is Trundle should be standing right here. Amumu should be standing right here. Annie should be standing right here to spot out Heimerdinger towers and maybe hit them with her long range. And then Morgana should be standing right here to stop invades with her W or Q. Obviously her W just to poke them off, Q to actually stop someone, and then Caitlyn would be standing here. Same as the enemy team, AD carry would be standing here. Misfortune standing exactly right there. Heimerdinger's doing a good job. Jungle, top lane. So I always want to hold the 5-point early on. It's the best strategy in the game in my opinion. Obviously there are outlier situations in high level gameplay where you want to invade on purpose to split the map, but we're not going to discuss that here. We're going to focus mainly on top lane today, so let's look to do that. Top lane matchup, Camille versus Trundle. In my opinion, I think Trundle should win this early on because of his passive. Let's turn down the music a little bit. Alright. In my opinion, I believe Trundle should win early on because of his passive, where he gets a lot of regen from dying minions nearby. And on top of that, he has more trading potential early on with his auto and Q into the Camille. Whereas Camille, in my opinion, should be looking to reach level 3. And then he can look to play aggressive if he has the minion wave relative to the Trundle. So right there, Trundle should have auto-Q'd. Oh, lag. So Trundle should win this because Camille is overstepping into the minion wave, opting into the trade. So there's 2 mage minions hitting the Camille and no minions hitting the Trundle. He should have kept smacking the Camille over and over again to try to get his passive. Right now, Camille doing a very classic level 2 cheese. What I discussed earlier in the lesson. When you reach level 2, you just go in. You trade with them and you walk away and you'll win the trade. Trundle, disrespecting it, taking a little bit of a trade, but again, at the end of the day, I already said, Trundle should win this matchup early on, even if he gets pushed in because of his passive, where he heals a lot. So right here, Trundle should look to play passive. Do not walk up. Do not get E'd by the Camille right here. And just let the wave come in so that you can then catch the wave under tower. And then you can look to play aggressively at level 3 if you choose to do so when you have the minion wave. So Trundle right there should not have taken that second EQ. No, the first EQ from level 2 and that second one right there. Right here, Camille doing a very good job of pushing the wave. Applying step number 2, which is execute. Right there, he might have been able to kill a Mumu if he chose to do so, but opting into the safer choice to just back off. They know where the enemy jungler is, and then they can look to do what they want now. So right there, Camille doing a very good job of applying all the steps that I discussed early on. But right here, Camille looking to go in, gets the Amumu flash, steals away the race, and now the Krugs, my bad. Oh my god, my brain. He stole away the Krugs and now walks away. Heimerdinger opting to roam up, but ultimately nothing going on. But back to my point, Camille did a really good job of level 2 execution, level 3 execution, and then getting the ward. Very beautiful. Applied 3 of the things I discussed early on in my lesson. The only thing he made a mistake on was that early level 1 trade. You had no reason to walk up to the minions because you get destroyed by minions early on. So right here, wave is pushing back towards Camille. In my opinion, Camille should not be clearing this wave, which he's doing a really good job of, because now Trundle is really afraid to walk up because he has no clue where the Fiddlesticks is. Because Amumu has to reset and go bot side here because the Krugs got stolen away. So there's nothing to farm top side because Fiddlesticks has control of Scuttle top side. So Amumu's forced to reset, go bot Scuttle, and then now Trundle has to play really afraid here. So Camille's doing a really good job of freezing the... Like, this is a mini freeze going on right here. But this trade, working out really well because Fiddlesticks does get a mini gank off here. Fiddlesticks should have been faster with that abilities. So right there, I'm going to put the blame on Camille for going in too early, really aggressively. But I'll put the blame on Fiddlesticks for not flashing in and looking to apply all his abilities on the Trundle right away. So it was both of their faults there on the execution, but the idea was there. Trundle forced into a position where he has to weirdly push in the wave, while his Amumu has reset to go bot side and Fiddlesticks is still top. And now Camille is able to just freeze the wave towards her in that case, and then if he walks up, you just gank him as Fiddlesticks. If he doesn't walk up, then he's losing like minions gold. So then it's a win-win situation for Camille. Right here, the minion wave is still pushing towards Camille, which is perfectly fine. In my opinion, I would not reset here as Camille, because you know you cannot get dived, because Fiddlesticks is the top side to assist you, and you know Amumu was bot side. So right there, Camille should have stayed, cleared the whole wave under tower. Once the wave was clear and pushing back towards the Trundle, then reset with the slight amount of extra gold that you had from clearing all those minions, and then come back. Right now, she would have a Vampiric Scepter, potions, and a control ward maybe. So right here, Camille opting to a really aggressive trade. She should be able to finish off the Trundle here. So that was really good and well executed by Camille to reset, grab the Vampiric Scepter. And right there, Trundle disrespecting Camille's ability to kill him. So here's what should have happened here. Here's how Trundle plays out this situation. So right here, the minion wave's in a really good spot for Camille because it's frozen towards her slightly. So right here, Trundle should not be opting into a trade onto Camille. He should have just backed off right there and let the minion wave push towards him so that he can eventually catch it under his tower. Because right now, he's not stronger than the Camille. Look at the items real quick. You got a Boots and a D-Blade and a D-Shield compared to Camille's D-Blade and Vampiric Scepter and her minion wave advantage that she has. So right there, you know Trundle. The minion wave will push towards you. Just chill and catch the EXP. On top of that, Camille did a really good job of E-ing off of Trundle's pillars. So, man-built terrain. Camille's can E off of Ornn Q once it's been solidified. Anivia W's, Trundle E's. And there's probably some others, but... Oh, Jarvan E. Jarvan alt, my bad. Not his E, his alt. So yeah. So that's really good on Camille to understand the mechanic there of being able to E off of Trundle's pillar. A lot of shenanigans going on in the mid lane. Ultimately, somehow, red side lost, even though they had the Caitlyn Morgana roam up. I think it had probably to do with the Fiddlesticks' fear and how broken it is. But going back to top lane here. It's right here. Trundle shouldn't be pushing this wave. He should be looking to get pushed in. Because he wants to be playing safe under his tower. So right here, if Camille's really smart, she would just last hit only and let the wave push towards her. Because Trundle screwed up the wave for himself. So now Trundle's in a situation where he can't walk up. Because if he walks up, he gets... Camille just fights him. Because Camille's stronger. And if he walks up, he can get ganked. So right here, as you can see, Trundle has to respect everything that's going on in this situation. So as if you're viewing this from... So let's keep viewing this from Camille's perspective. Camille's in a winning scenario here. She lets the wave come toward her, she just trades whenever she wants. Or she can just catch the wave on a tower if she's in fear of an enemy jungle gank. What Trundle should be doing is calling his jungler up. Yo, we need to clear this, and let's pray to God we win 2v2. But they don't win 2v2. So then he should be calling up the mid laner. But now the mid laner's losing too. So you don't win the 3v3. Probably you don't even win the 3v2. So you're screwed topside now as the Trundle. Right now, I'm questioning this Camille roam. I have no clue what's going on. Is this guy AFK? What's going on here? What? What just happened? Okay, so let's say Camille was still in the game. She would catch this wave right now. Oh no, she would have kept holding the freeze in this area. And Trundle would have been screwed. I don't know what's going on. But the good thing is everything I pointed out did happen early on. And some of the concepts that we're discussing are kind of happening in this case, but Camille is not here to actually catch it. Alright, he's finally left. Alright. Alright, so let's go to bot lane then, which is the other role I was coaching last week, and put our sights away from top lane. She's having a snack. True. Alright, so let's put our sights to bot lane. So we have Caitlyn Morgana, which is a priority lane over MF Senna, in my opinion. So right now, Morgana has no reason to roam, because what's going to end up happening is our Caitlyn's going to get destroyed and going to get pushed in. So Morgana should have stayed in lane here. The only time you roam is if you know the wave's pushing towards you, guaranteed. And you're on board with your AD carry playing safe. This is a really bad overstep, because there's no mid lane priority from Annie. So that means Heimerdinger Fiddlesticks is able to freely roam down. Camille's girlfriend, come over. Camille's like, no, I'm playing League right now. And then Camille's girlfriend's like, I'm home alone. And then Camille's like, hook shot, straight in there. Anyways. It's right here. Trundle should understand. Alright, Camille's AFK, take advantage, and he should just hard shove under the enemy tower and ward this Tribush right here, and just keep hitting the tower over and over again. Alright. So I'm really sad, because we weren't able to fully discuss top lane. But hopefully Camille reconnects, and then we can just discuss how Trundle should be taking advantage of the side lane versus Camille. Why did Camille AFK? I think she has computer problems. Like, there was no reason for Camille to leave, because he was actually winning the lane really hard on his own. Is Xayah still any good? In my opinion, Xayah is only good with Rakan. There are some niche scenarios where you can pick Xayah without Rakan, but yeah, generally you want to pick Xayah when the enemy team wants to fly into your face, because you're able to lay out a lot of feathers and then just pull them back, and then you'll get free roots and then you get free auto attacks. Alright, Camille's back. Do you think Trundle's a good top? Yes, I think Trundle's a really good top into Maokai. Because Maokai cannot do anything, and Maokai's like flavor of the month right now. So I think Trundle can be picked. And he's a really good, what's it called? Tower Destroyer with Blade of the Rune King and Trinity Force. Thoughts on Maokai's support? Maokai's support's pretty good, but he's only a flex in high elo. But you can play him if you want lower level gameplay. You can do a really good job of zoning him with your E's. Right here, I like the sportsmanship from Fiddlesticks coming and saying, "It's alright, let's win this game." But he said it in all chat, which is the only way I can see it. So right here, Camille's back in the game. He has his Tiamat, he has his Vampiric Scepter. This matchup is kind of skewed now, but let's just view it as if Camille just fell really far behind, right? Let's say Camille's 0-2 right now, and then the Trundle's 1-0. So right here, Camille should be looking to just scale into the mid game, grab her Blade of the Rune King if she's building Blade. But I think she should be building Trinity Force and Ravenous. You should not be building Blade at all, Camille. I got confused there for a second, but yeah, it should be Trinity Force and Ravenous. Alright. So right here, Camille should let the Trundle just push in because both sides have Tiamat, so Camille has no reason to contest unless his jungler and his top side to assist him, but in this case they do lose the 2v2 in my opinion. The Amumu and Trundle should be able to beat the Camille and Fiddlesticks. So right here, I don't know why Trundle's playing so safe, even though Camille has a bigger minion wave, because he has a level lead on the Camille, so he should be playing really aggressively. Ooh, if Annie played her abilities just a little bit better, they can kill that Camille. So right there, Camille has no reason to go, and because your Fiddlesticks has reset, and your Heimerdinger isn't strong right now. So you should just look to back off and not take that play and go back top lane. But in that case, let's look at it from Annie's perspective. Annie should have used her E to charge up her stun, then use her W to then stun the Camille, allowing that Amumu to come in and land his Q. But instead, he did nothing with his stun. So that forces Amumu to have to land his skill shot, which you don't want to force your teammates into a position to do so. But in this case, they did. Amumu did land his Q, and then they did end up securing the kill onto Camille. Right here, Heimerdinger with a really good flank TV ward. Mid wave is not fully pushed in yet, so he's not going to lose too much. He does come in for the bot lane play. And they should end up killing Caitlyn here. Yep. Ooh, unless... Alright, they got him. So right here now, Heimerdinger is able to quickly run back mid lane through his side of the jungle. And then catch the mid wave. That hasn't been fully pushed in. So not a bad TP overall from the Heimerdinger. Let's see what happens top lane. I'm assuming top lane, Trundle suicided for the top lane tower. Let's see if it was worth it or not. So obviously Trundle got to wail away at top lane tower because Camille was actually AFK. But right here it comes up top lane, and as you can see, Trundle is actually a very strong tower taker with his W and Q because he gets the instant auto resets. But he does end up dying to the Fiddlesticks. So right here, this suicide is really good actually on Trundle's side because he's going to die 100% to the Fiddlesticks. But hypothetically, let's say he knew Fiddlesticks was there. He should give it up. He should not take the tower and just back off and then save his life and look to take the tower another day because you can get priority over the Camille and hit the tower because you are that much further ahead than her. Right here, Heimerdinger opting into pushing bot because he was able to kill the Caitlyn and trade back the bot lane tower, which is fine, but you do lose mid waves. So what Fiddlesticks should have done right after he ganked top was rotate mid and catch the wave and hold the minion wave. Once he holds the minion wave, then he can go back to farming his jungle. So that Annie cannot hit the tower and the minions just don't lose the EXP. Alright. So, what Trundle should look to do here is apply all the steps I discussed earlier in the lesson. Push out the wave. Once you push out the wave, look to rotate into the jungle and establish vision. Once you've established vision, you can go back to top and do whatever you want. You can hard pressure, try to bait the enemy jungler to coming. You can try to kill the Camille. You can roam down after you push because you have all that priority in the world. And you can do that from there. So right there, Trundle should have pushed another wave and then look to roam through the jungle. Because when you push this wave right here, the wave then crashes on the tower, forcing the enemy team to react to the wave. Which means they're losing minion waves if they don't react. And if they do react, then you see them on the minion wave, allowing you to do whatever you want mid lane. So right here, blue team overextending, not playing around the Camille split and understanding that Trundle is here. They literally saw Trundle walk up under tower and Q a Heimerdinger, who was buying items. So there's no reason for them to walk up here to try to take a fight, because Camille is split pushing bot, and you know Trundle is behind you. So there's no reason for blue team to walk up here. So all you do is let Camille push, and then just catch a wave on the tower, and you'll be fine. So in this case, this was Camille's team misplaying this scenario here. What they should have looked to do was just play safe, let the Camille push in. Trundle, someone will lose bot lane minions, a couple of them, and then Camille backs off, and they can keep stalling time for the Camille to get strong. Because, like, let's say this was a real competitive game, right? For some reason, these comps were just drafted. Then blue team would win through the split, because no one on the enemy team can actually react to the Camille. Trundle cannot beat Camille 1v1 when Camille has Trinity Force, Ravenous Hunter, and potentially one more item. Throw in a Ninja Tab by 2 onto the Camille. And Trundle should never be able to deal with the Camille. So then Camille will be able to pressure 24/7, and he can look to roam mid after he gets his push. He can look to hit tower. He can look to 1v2. The options are all there for him. So right here, Camille visually sees 3 people on bot, so he's just going to look to back off here. And now this allows mid lane, his blue team, to get a couple hits on mid, pressure mid, and look to do whatever they want mid lane. Now, Camille can now finally clear this wave. He has his control ward here, so he knows he's not getting reganked. On top of that, his Fiddlestick spots out the Moo, so now Camille can hard shove bot. He should be looking to hard shove bot, and then looking to reset after to catch top wave. But this whole time, Heimerdinger should actually have been catching top lane to match the Trundle. If they do decide to hold that lane assignment. Break fart. But yeah, Camille should be mashing this Trundle until he has his items. So right here, Fiddlesticks is somehow able to sneak all the way into topside jungle. Now he's able to get a flank onto this Trundle. And now Trundle overstepping for this fight. And is he gonna kill him? Oh my god. Jesus Christ. Alright, but let's watch this from an objective standpoint as the top lane. So your Trundle, you're just balling with the Gronk, right? You see a couple mid lane. Right here, you need to instantly try to back off because you see a Fatal Six on your control ward. And then you, like, all this is like just disgustingly black. Like, you can't see anything. You have no wards. You didn't establish any vision. So what you should do is look to try to back off here. You should instantly try to run for this pillar, this right here, and try to pop over the wall into the Fiddlesticks, and then try to run from there. Or, alternatively, pop towards mid and try to run for your team, because you're just gonna die. But in this case, I guess Trundle's just so strong because of that Camille AFK that he's able to punish and then just kill the Camille. Trundle OP in 1v1 because he steals stats, that's true. But Camille should still win later game. Because Camille engages, Trundle ults, and then Camille instantly disengages. So what Camille does is she ease in onto the Trundle. Trundle will auto Q, W, and then he'll ult. And then Camille will Q the Trundle and run away. And then if Trundle continues to chase, Camille will ult and then use the second Q onto the Trundle, which is the strongest Q. And then he'll look to just keep disengaging. Alright. So right here, a lot of shenanigans going down, but red team shouldn't be looking to do this. Well, unless... Oh my god, I guess red team's just really strong. Okay, I take that back. I guess red team collectively believes they're stronger, so they're just taking this fight, so they're looking to do so. But right there, Umumu overstepping for no reason. He has no follow-up, and no reason to actually push up onto this Heimer and Senna to Q them on a tower. But going back to the top lane matchups, right here, Trundle obviously flexing that he's much stronger than the Camille. So right here, what Trundle should look to do, clear the wave. Once you clear the wave, you establish the vision, which he already kind of has with this blue trinket. But he should look to place an actual ward in there, which he doesn't have. Right now, he should have sold his D shield or not buy our Sapphire Crystal and buy a Control Ward instead, which is a lot more important. Because that'll allow him to actually take advantage of this Camille really well. It's right here. Trundle can now just push. They should have checked this bush right here. You probably should cover the map. It's a 3-minute delay. And then on top of the YouTube delay, which is like 3 seconds. So it should be okay. So right here, Fiddlestick's getting caught. One of Fiddlestick's weaknesses, where if any champion can get on top of you in 2 seconds, you're probably dead. So right here, there should be a dance going on, but Camille should ultimately die. Nothing much she can do there. What she should have done was, she should have went this way. Walk here, auto-clear the wave, use your Hydra, clear the wave as much as you can, and then try to run into this area. Use your E right here, and then dash right here, and then try to run all the way up here. And then try to queue a minion on over here, so that you're able to get the movement speed, and then run to enemy top jungle, and then run away. That's what Camille should have left it on there. Because you're in a position where you're already gonna die. You already got collapsed on from all the sides behind you. So let's see what's going on here. A lot of fights going on randomly, and people are grouping up around the top laner, which is really interesting. Can you talk about effective warding while split pushing? So you apply the 4 steps, or you apply the 3 steps in this case. Push, vision, push, execute. So step number 1, you push. Step number 2, you place a vision once you see someone react to your wave, so that you know you cannot die to them when you are checking a push. Once you place your vision, then you go back to pushing, and then once you push out that minion wave, you can execute and do whatever you want. And I discussed it earlier in today's lesson, the exact steps that you should be looking to do. And I discussed like why you should, how you should not be getting caught when you're applying the first 2 steps in push vision. Because I guarantee you'll do it in a solo queue game where you're like, alright, Saskio told me, push vision, push execute. I'm gonna do that. You push, you get vision, and you die. And then you're gonna be like, Saskio lied to me. It doesn't work. But in reality, I taught the stream how to prevent that. So definitely go back and check that out. If you were wondering about that. Alright, so right here, if you want to accelerate the game as Camille, you want to push the wave past even, if you can, or just collect the wave once Trundle pushes in. So let's say Camille's right here, right? She'd collect the wave onto the tower, and with the small period of time she has to roam after she clears the wave, she can try to roam mid, and then make a play happen. But obviously in that time, Trundle should have been looking for play on mid lane too. So he had his first shot, now he goes bot, and then Camille can now sweep in and try to sneak in again mid lane, while Trundle's going bot lane. So obviously the losing team obviously has clear disadvantages, but they have to find their pockets if they can find it. And if not, Camille can just keep clearing the wave. But in this case he wasn't bot, so Trundle just smacked down the tower with his Wit of the Rune King and Sheen. Do this again, but one for all? I cannot imagine casting a one for all game. I'll be like, Yuumi uses E. That Yuumi uses E though. But it's a Yuumiception, what's going on? And I just lose my mind. When do you base as a split pusher? When there's nothing to pressure on the map anymore. So if your teammates are basing, you need to base too. But if your teammates are trying to pressure Baron or towers, then you need to stay on the map. If you can. What top lane champion you would recommend to hard improve and mechanics laning in top? Pick whatever you want. There's a skill ceiling for every single champion that you play. Like there's like a maximum way that you can play each champion. So yeah, but if you want my opinion, I think Camille's actually a really good one. She demonstrates a lot of the... Oh my god. The push vision, push execute, you have a lot of potential like kill threat at level 3. And then you transition into the later game actually pretty well with your Trinity Force and Ravenous Hunter build. So right here, a lot of random stuff going on. Fiddlestick's popping over the wall. Does not Zhonya's immediately as he pops over the wall. Pops down. MF kiting back, flashes away. Trundle going in, but he's going to go down because he's full AD. Amumu landing the Q from over the wall. Does not have ultimate because he used it on the Camille. And now he dies. And blue team did a really good job of playing with their tower, while red team overdiving and getting overzealous, feeding a lot of gold into the blue team. So what red team should be doing here is just playing slowly and looking to pressure mid and bot lane with their Trundle lead, allowing mid lane to push in, rotate to your Trundle, and hit the side wave towers. So here's the thought process. Mid bot, right? You already have this tower down. So mid lane pushes in, right? The 4 core, which is Annie, Caitlyn, Amumu, and Morgana. And then you move in as a team to the Trundle, and then now you siege bot lane. Once you take bot lane tower, then you guys can reset, and then do that top lane. Push in the wave, rotate top as a team, and then take the top tower with your Trundle. So that's just the general, like very general guideline that you want to follow if you're a red team here. Now blue team on the other hand, you want to try to catch people on rotations. You want to try to catch people without pushing the waves in, and then once you get the catch, you go clear the waves. And then if they don't give it, you go clear the waves. And then you guys can look to then you guys have a small pocket of opportunity to try to make the play before the enemy team makes their play. What do you think of Aatrox overall? I think he's a fine champion. He's still pickable. At what point can Camille join the teamfight again? She should never join a teamfight, ever. There's too many ways for Camille to die against the enemy team composition and get CC'd out. Caitlyn W, Morgana abilities, Amumu, and the Annie stun, which is the easiest one to land. She should be looking to try to get as many items as she can, and then scale. And then try to beat the Trundle 1v1. Trundle, on the other hand, since he's so far ahead of the Camille, has the option to group with this team if he wants to. But Camille doesn't have that luxury. Tips against Renekton and Darius. Respect Renekton's E auto attack W range. Don't walk onto it. Let him push you in. Once you clear the wave at level 3, then you can look to play aggressively if you find the opportunity to do so. Against Darius, don't walk up to his hook range. And don't let him auto attack you after he gets 5 stacks on you. So if Darius gets 5 auto attacks on you in lane somehow, you messed up. Right here, Trundle doing a really overzealous dive. Ults and flashes in, allowing the Annie to follow up and land a really good Tibbers onto the enemy team. So right there, I'm not a fan of that play from Trundle because you have no reason to do that. You're the team that's winning. You have the Siege like champions. You have the Annie's 600 range. You have the Caitlyn 600 range. Just play around that and let him smack towers over and over again. And all you gotta do is just peel back. See, it's right here. If you just slowed it down and just waited for his team to push up, they'd be smacking this tower right now. And then Annie can look for her flash ult Tibbers if she wants, which she should be looking for it. And then you guys win the team fight from there because it's a clean executed team fight start. Like I understand Morgana landed her binding there, but you had no reason to do that. So personally, I'm a fan of slow gameplay, where everything is guaranteed 100%. Like I'm open to these crazy like plays that you're making, but that one is a little bit overzealous. I'll be quite honest. Use your trap. Does she have trap? She had trap. She has 3 traps. All right, Caitlyn tip: if people Zhonya's, you put traps under them because they can't do anything once they come out. The only thing they can do is Yasuo can win wall, and they can Zhonya's again if they have a stopwatch. But they can't flash out of it. They can't do anything. So that's like. Caitlyn's like a really good champion into Zhonya's champions because you just boink, and then when they come out, you just like slap them with a headshot. You don't want to trade 1-for-1 when you're ahead? Yeah. But in that case, that was really good for blue team because they get a Trundle kill. Because they're really far behind, they need it. So trading 3-for-1 there, and the tower is worth it in my opinion. I would say it's worth it. No minion wave. They're just red team rolling up as a team, just trying to goon squat the tower. Camille doing a really good job of side laning right now. Right here, blue team should never look to engage under any circumstance at all. All blue team has to do here is literally dance under their tower and let the Camille pressure up as far as she can. Force the Trundle to react to your split push. And then you can look to roam and take a 5v4 when Trundle is reacting to the wave. And then obviously when you're moving over and Trundle TP's in, you guys all back off, and then you repeat the same step over and over again when Trundle has no TP this time. So right here, a lot of the red team backing off to react to the bot lane push, allowing Camille to place her vision, and now she's able to execute. She can steal camps, she can reset, she can push the wave again, she can do whatever she wants. So this is exactly what you should be looking to do when you are playing top in solo queue. Pressure the side lane, when you're on a champion that can pressure, by the way. Not like, right there, if the Camille is Maokai, very incorrect gameplay. Maokai or Ornn or Malphite, very wrong. Alright there, Camille, Jax, Renekton maybe. Those are all really good champions to be doing these steps, which you push, apply pressure, enemy team forced to react, get the vision, and now he's able to execute here. So right now, he reset, and now he's farming a couple camps, waiting for the wave to push in, and then he can just keep looking to scale up. Alright. How much he actually be aiming to get during laning phase? There isn't a general number. You just have to have a feel going in, but generally at 10 minutes you want to see roughly around 80 to 90 CS is actually pretty good for 10 minutes. Obviously the perfect is like 100 for side lane, but 80 to 90 is really good. 70 to 80 is also acceptable. What would happen if you don't have the smarter team and the split push with you? So if the enemy top laner, I'm assuming you're stronger than the enemy top laner, they split push with you, you want to try to force the enemy jungler to come down. Right here, Camille should take this fight in my opinion. Take this fight. You're not going to get a better one. Actually, I take that back. It could be 50-50 actually, fighting with the Annie. But right here, red team, I don't know what red team's doing. All you guys need to do is just force engage onto the enemy team and you guys should win. Have Annie roam up too at the same time. But right here, blue team doing a really good job. They're dodging out on the enemy plays. Camille's getting her items again. She's getting the pressure. They're sending Annie to deal with Camille's split push pressure, whereas Trundle should be dealing with it. Tips for farming top lane as a bruiser against a marksman. Let the wave push in and try to reach level 3 once they crash the wave at the third win wave. And then once you're 3, then you can look to match them again. Is Kayle good for top still? Kayle as an overall champion is good, but I don't think she matches the style for solo queue. You shouldn't be picking her in solo queue because you rely too much on reaching level 11 and 16 to do anything. And then even when you do reach that level, your teammates are probably all dead. They fed too much already. So it's not even worth picking. You may as well pick like Renekton or something and just try to win your lane. What do you do versus Vlad late game? That's the mistake. Vlad is in late game. He should not be in late game. The game should have been ended already. It's right here, an engagement happening in the bottom side. What is going on? No, chase Senna. She's out of position. Alright, anyways. So right here, Camille shouldn't have entertained red team on bottom side. I understand Elder's up, but what Camille should be looking to do is go top lane. Push out top all the way and force the enemy team to either react to your split push, which they will do Elder, or they'll send someone up top, which is what you want. But if they do Elder, then you TP in and try to fight with your team. But right there, Camille had no reason to entertain the enemy team on bot side because you don't win the 5v5, 5v4 even probably at this case. Just try to keep split pushing and get your items. Any tips for trying to learn a new champion? Go into a custom game and work out all the kinks on the champion. And then start with some normal games. In between your games, pull up a one trick for that champion. And try to like watch the way they play laning phase and like how they interact with your lane matchup. Thoughts on Gangplank? Gangplank is really bad for solo queue because he... Like, I'm viewing this from a competitive standpoint. The reason why competitive teams pick Gangplank is to absorb pressure topside. You don't gank Gangplanks. Like, you pick Gangplank so that he gets ganked for your team, so that he can absorb the pressure and stay alive. And then look to scale for level 13, where he gets his Trinity Force and his other item, and then he can look to help team fight from there, or look to pressure side lane. So right here, engagement happening mid lane. Amumu going very deep, killing the Senna with the Elder Dragon. But this is a really good trade for blue team because they trade 1-for-1, which is exactly what they want. Camille right here should not be pinging his team going in. They should go clear bottom lane. Then, once they clear bottom lane, they should all instantly rotate mid and clear mid. But right there, that's really good for blue team because they're able to slow down the siege with Elder, and then try to stall for this Baron. And keep stalling items for Camille to catch up. How do you counter Fed GP as AD carry? Outplay his barrels or don't be in the range. So try to like move in a way where you can weave in between his barrels. Or you need to, if you cannot do that, you have to manually hit the barrel when it's 1 HP. I'm a Soldier 76 main. How do I score a touchdown? You need to use your right click and then jump at the same time and sprint. So you get more jump distance. Thinking of getting Kha'Zix for the jungle. I am Silver Bonds. Good idea. Yeah, Kha'Zix is perfectly fine for lower level gameplay. He has a lot of tools to get around and skip the push vision push execute strategy. Like these three champions can skip push vision push execute. Pyke, Bard, and Kha'Zix. Those exact three champions can skip those steps. Can you climb with Kled? Yeah, pick Kled. Kled's very good for climbing top lane. He's actually my #1 recommendation. I know I recommended Camille earlier, but Kled is like the #1 go-to because he has all the tools you need to play safe topside if you're getting destroyed, to play really aggressively, and you have a remount option that people don't see coming. Can you climb with Rammus? I mean, you can. But there's no reason to put yourself in a hole before the game even starts. But I climb bot with Varus. Varus isn't that great in solo queue because he gets destroyed really easily. Although he has a lot of good setup. So I guess if you have a good team that can follow up, then yeah, Varus is perfectly fine. Alright, going back into this game though. Camille, reaching level 16, critical mass. He needs to get his item. I know he has money. He has 1,500 gold. Grab your DD, I guess, and look to fight. So right here, Fiddlesticks getting caught. You need to understand when you're playing Fiddlesticks, you can never be in a position where you get caught because your champion is so squishy. If you get caught, you're useless. You can't do anything. You need to be in Fog of War, being ready to ultimate when the enemy team walks up to try to fear as many people as possible. And then hopefully your team follows up. Right there, Camille taking 4 random autos. That should not be happening either. So right here, Camille should be looking to farm up this wave. Just try to farm, grab DD, or parts to your DD. If you can. What is the strongest scaling champ in the entire game? In a realistic standpoint, I think Kayle is the strongest scaling champion. But in an infinite standpoint, Nasus and Veigar. Oh, Kassadin too. My bad. Kassadin. Yeah, my bad. Not Kayle. Kassadin. He is the most realistic, best scaling champion in the game. Thoughts on climbing as AD carry? Understand your support matchup, and you need to do a role reversal. So normally supports set up the AD carry to carry, but as the AD carry, you need to set up your support to carry in solo queue. Because I'm assuming your support's bad, which is everyone says they're bad. So you need to step up and take that role. Alright, so let's see what's going on here. So Camille doing a really good job of going top lane. Try to pressure top lane before the Elder spawns and force the enemy team to react to you. Blue team, on the other hand, do not face check into the jungle because you will die. I guarantee you it. You need to just try to ward, shallow vision, and play around that, and utilize your MF's blue trinket, your Heimerdinger's blue trinket, to check the dragon to see if they're doing it. Once you see them doing it, then you can face check and Camille can look to TP in on a ward that you place. Otherwise, if the enemy team never does dragon on the 2 blue trinkets that you place into it, Camille keeps going as hard as she can topside. Alright. How did blue win this? Right there, I just told you. They should have played slow. Obviously, the game's over now because they have Elder. There's nothing much you can really do. You should... So right here, if I was making the calls, I'd force engage right now. Force engage. In hindsight, because I can see where Annie and Morgana is. But right now, the call I would be making for my team is I'd say sacrifice mid and bot and hold top. And have Camille split push top. Camille should be going hard top. Sacrifice mid bot. Once they fully commit, then Camille resets or TPs to the mid tower right here. And then you guys look to hold as a team. Or you guys place a ward in the base so Camille can TP to a ward inside the base. So she doesn't get Camille trapped as she TPs in. Or get Caitlyn trapped as she TPs in. And what that does is that allows you to generate some pressure top. And then see if the enemy team can fully push with their mid and bot minion wave. And if they don't, then Camille can keep going. But if they do, then Camille TP's in, and you guys do your last defense. So right here, Camille force engaging onto the Morgana. They should be looking to kite back here. Yep, very nice. Kite, 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 kite. Fiddlesticks needs your Zonia soon. Caitlyn placed a trap onto the Fiddlesticks. Very nice. Nice try. But red team just a little too strong with their Elder Dragon. Ho ho! Alright. Alrighty. So overall, pretty classic standard solo game, but I do believe if the Camille didn't disconnect, this matchup actually would have looked a lot different, where Camille was actually able to pressure, where you would have a realistic scenario where you're winning top, and then your whole map is losing. And then I would have been able to discuss a lot about about how Camille should be pressuring, when she should be respecting the enemy's potential roam on her, and things in that nature. But things did get skewed, and at the end of the day, we weren't able to see that, because what ended up happening was blue team constantly lost on all 3 sides of the map, and they weren't able to ever do anything. But one thing I will commend blue team for doing is they were able to actually crawl back and find some opportunities that red team presents to them with red team's overdives from Trundle, from the Mumu, and then they were able to actually hold out the game a little bit. So I will commend them there a little bit. But yes, yeah, I don't think there's much to talk about for that game, because I did discuss what it should look like from the Trundle's perspective. So I did role reversal it to the Trundle, which was the losing matchup, to the winning matchup, because he got really far ahead. But let's answer a couple questions, and then we'll call it for today. Let's play this. All right. Did I do good? Yeah, not bad. Is it hard for support mains to climb? No, it is not. You need to find your opportunities with your level 2 cheese and your roam opportunities, which I discussed in last week's VOD, relative to your minion wave. So your AD carry does not get dove. If you spam Vayne, can you climb? Yep. Is Varus poke good for mid laning in this patch? No, I don't think Varus lethality mid is good. Safe top laners for climbing, Shen. But you shouldn't be trying to play safe. You should be playing like champions like Kled, Renekton. Is Ashe support good? Maybe with Comet, yeah, but I don't think Ashe support should be picked. You may as well just pick Zyra for the poke. Why are people playing AD carry mid? For the flex potential from mid bot. And AD carry mid pools counts as a couple mid champs in terms of priority. Graves top good? No, Graves mid is good though. With Conquer, Death Dance, and Visage into AP matchups and AP junglers. How often should you roam on Kled top? Just apply the push, vision, push strategy execute. You push, you get your vision, you push again, and then you can execute whatever you want. Let me pull up the stream on in front of me so you guys don't see me looking to the side. Alright. Zillion mid is good. Yes, I believe Zillion mid is really good right now. Has a lot of wave clear and has a lot of opportunities set up for his team. But in my opinion, not good for lower level gameplay because who are you setting up? You want to get yourself fed. What do you think about Yorick? I think Yorick is a okay champion. I wouldn't recommend him for climbing. I'd rather just pick more aggressive champions that can play really aggressively, like Kled, Renekton. Those are like the two big ones in my opinion. Do you think Galio support will be strong this season? I see the Galio support coming back, yeah, for sure. With the Kai'Sa, because Galio is able to set up the Kai'Sa passive. How do you climb out of silver and gold for top? Watch this whole last hour. 2 hours of sessions. Probably the first hour, actually, where I was in a custom game. And you'll get a good idea. Is Akali good right now? Akali's okay. Is AD carry top viable? It is, until you make a mistake. You can never come back ever again. What are your thoughts on Aatrox for climbing? He's a perfectly fine champion for climbing. You can play him. Fiora good for climbing? Fiora's a very niche champion. I wouldn't pick Fiora because there's so many other champions that just does so much better than her in her job of split pushing. Like Camille's just infinitely way better than Fiora. Camille has more opportunities for kill early on, and she scales just as well as Fiora. Akali viable or trolling? Viable. Your thoughts on Nocturne top? Niche champion for high level play. You shouldn't be playing him lower level. Thoughts on Set for climbing? Set's perfectly fine. Is Gangplank top good? And can I have advice, please? Answer me. Gangplank is really bad for climbing because the point of that champion is to soak up pressure from the enemy team, but you don't want to be looking to do that on purpose in solo queue. You want to be trying to kill the enemy top laner. And Gangplank doesn't really kill. He just pokes out and just stays alive. Thoughts on Ezreal top? XD. How should I play against scaling champs like Kayle and Trin as Aatrox? Look to try to play aggressively when they present you the opportunity to go in on them. So like if Kayle walks out for CS, you better EQ him and throw a W at him. Tips on Kled. If you're about to dismount and you have your W back up, EQ in right away. Dismount yourself and then your W will be up. And then you slap them 4 times with your auto. And then you Q. And then you should be 1 more auto away from remount. And then you instant remount and all your abilities are back up. That's a really good cheese that you can pull off with Kled. What do you say about Aphelios mid? I don't think he's that great because he doesn't really get priority over other mid laners. So he ends up just getting pushed in. So he's not really that great mid. What are your top 3 champs to use to climb? Well, relative to the stream title for top lane. Kled for Renekton. And Camille for top lane. Excluding Kled. Renekton, Camille, and I'd probably say Aatrox. Best 80 carries to climb? I like Kaisa. Alright, let's answer maybe 3 more questions and then we'll call it for today. What's the biggest mistake low elos make that keep them from progressing? Execution. That is the biggest one that people do not want to hear. Execution. On everything that you do. When I'm playing in lower level gameplay to get my Smurfs to higher ranks, so I can play in high elo, obviously. I can make all the bad decisions I want in the world in my game, but I execute every decision I can as perfectly as possible, and I usually do them really well. So then you end up coming on top, even in the bad plays. So that's like the biggest thing that lower level players need to look to improve on to climb. What is execution? Execution on everything when it comes to how much pressure you're outputting, your actual physical usage of like your abilities and your burst, and dodging out on the enemy abilities at the same time. So it's min-maxing with your champion, where you're maximizing how much you're able to do, and then minimizing the things that you shouldn't be doing. Are you excited for Valorant? I'm excited indeed. I've been playing some Apex to try to pick up some of my FPS skills back in my Black Ops COD days. What about a losing lane when it comes to push, vision, push? You don't apply those steps then. You apply them in microdoses. So they push you in, and then you push the wave, right? You clear the wave, and then you place defensive vision. And then you keep holding your defensive position until your team's able to do something. I'm assuming like you're playing like Maokai into Jay's side lane or something. You just catch wave and then just ward defensively and then keep catching waves until he does something, and then you react. Or you TP in when you have a small window of opportunity after you clear the wave to a fight if you're able to flank. Does this apply to running mid laners? Yes. You still want to look to push, but the thing is with Talon, you're able to push, vision, execute. You don't have to apply 4 steps. You apply 3. So you push and then you just vision execute right away. How about Aphelios in top lane? Aphelios top lane, I don't think is that great. How do I read win condition or choose my champion according to my team picks? Don't choose your champion according to your teams. The only thing that you need to choose according to your team is if everyone picks all AD champions, then you need to pick an AP. So find a AP champion that you are comfortable with playing, and then you can fill in that slot. So if you're like top laner, you're like Vladimir, Kennen, those type of champions. How do you take out Fed champs on the enemy team? Focus him down with everything that you got on your side. If he oversteps, everyone just pops him. Could a movement be used top? No. How to carry is Kled. Apply everything I talked about in today's lesson. Okay, I'm going to be real with you guys here. When it comes to any champion, you don't need to ask how to carry on X champion. What you need to ask yourself is, how do I apply the push, vision, push, execute strategy that Saskio always talks about on every single champion I play? And how do I execute everything I'm doing? That's what you should be looking to focus on any champion you're playing. There's not like, sure, there are specific things that you should be looking to do on each champion, but you always have a general game plan that you want to follow, and then those bonus things that you can do, then you look at. Like, for example, Kled or Sion. You can look to ult bottom lane. That's like a extra thing that you can do because of the way the champion works. 3 more questions? Yeah, it's okay though. I'm good. Alright, let's do 1 more question and then we'll call it for today. I kind of trolled with that 3 questions. How to properly ward top against stealth champs like Evelynn or Twitch. Early on, you can yellow ward, you're fine. Obviously, Twitch will still be able to go through it if he queues. But if you get ganked by those champions, you should be able to kill them early on, really easily. I'm assuming you're playing like Kled or Renekton. That's all I'm thinking about for top lane. You should be able to just kill them straight up. As long as you bait them with my level 3 push bait strategy, which I talked about again earlier in the session. And even with other champs, you can still kill them. As long as you have the bigger minion wave. You should be playing around your minion wave no matter what. But obviously, you need to get a control ward once they're 6. Once Evelyn 6. But alright, I'm going to call that for today, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in to my How to Carry from Top Lane featuring me, Saskio. Yeah. You guys can follow my socials at Twitch or Twitter.com/SaskioLOL. Make sure you guys check out ProGuides website. They have a lot of coaches. I'm on there, so you guys can maybe DM me there if you guys want some personal coaching lessons. So I'm working there sometimes. So make sure you guys check out ProGuides website. And that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you very much for watching, and I will be heading out now. Have a good day, guys, and stay safe.